Well, we're now joined by Vladimir Golstein. He's a professor of Slavic Studies at Brown University in the U.S. state of Rhode Island. Professor, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
The U.S. announcing these closures on Thursday. 2 days later, Russian officials have already been wiped out and forced out. Why give them such little time?
Yeah, that's a clear sort of indication of escalation or escalation of hostilities. It's not only United States not only closing these facilities, but they're conducting the searches, which is quite unprecedented. It should be stressed that even at the time of a Cold War, things of that nature has been done. And I read somewhere that usually people do it only with with the countries with which they go to war, like United States did it with Japan, or Germany did it with Russia in 1941. So this is unprecedented kind of escalation. So why is this happening now? I think the answer is sort of very simple. Washington consensus a long time ago declared Russia an adversary, and we saw it being reiterated recently when United States House and and Senate introduced a renewal of all the sanctions against sort of Russia, that Russia is an adversary. So I think they're trying to prove it in all possible ways. Trying to find something. They would say that maybe in San Francisco they were a Russian mission used their location to spy on something or to hack on something. So that's a pretext, but it's basically escalating of hostilities and trying to push Russia into acting. And if Russia acts, then they would say, okay, you see, it's an adversary. Russia is acting aggressively. It's also an attempt to put a pressure on Trump, who before he came to power said Russia is not adversary. And I think either they will try to prove that he was wrong and say, you see, Trump is ineffective. He didn't understand the degree of Russian hostility. So this is a very interesting move, which is, shows that establishment has a lot of power, that Washington consensus still sort of throws its way around. Ostracizing Russia and more or less making President Trump rather ineffective.
Is this a political move on the part of the Trump administration to show the world actually that he is not biased towards Russia?
I think he had his, my feeling is he had his hands twisted. I'm sure that, both State Department and FBI told him that we need to see something, we need to prove something, and I guess he's not strong enough to agree on that. But my feeling is that this is such an unprecedented move and a probably illegal move. So, had he been in full control of all his agencies, he probably should have stopped it and, checked it with Justice Department first. Because a lot of lawyers I consulted say it's totally illegal, it violates, Vienna Convention and so on. So my feeling is it's not maybe some people in Trump administration, but I think it really goes against his will, and it also shows how ineffective, unfortunately, he is. He's pushed in the corner.
Can the U.S. and Russia recover from this long term in terms of building better relationships?
I think they can, but I have a feeling that the United States is not interested. They are very much invested in the traditional world order. They are very much invested in a situation when Russia is seen as an adversary, and they will try the best they can. And they invested, they need it to preserving NATO. They need it sort of for military-industrial complex. They need it for traditional disposition. And they are hoping by doing all this stuff to somehow kind of ostracize and alienate Russia from everyone else. But I think it's not working. Your previous sort of segment about BRIC meetings shows that Russia is not going to be, kind of alienated. Russia is a very active part of the world community. So I think until the United States decided that this politics of depositing or declaring other countries as adversaries is actually working against them. It's not beneficial to anyone. But I think it's probably beneficial to all the establishment who still continues the old Cold War ways.
We have to interrupt you there and stop you there. Thank you so much for your time and your thoughts.